Good morning, my friends. How are you today? I hope you're having a good morning so far. You've done your stretches, you've got your wiggles out, maybe you reached up to the sky and then touched your toes and then turned around in a circle 3 times. You had your breakfast and washed your face and brushed your teeth and brushed your hair, got some clothes on, and you're ready for a fun lesson. So welcome. So let's start by saying hello from my heart to your heart. Good morning. And to all of my friends. Good morning, my friends. Okay, so we have lots to do today, as you can see. And first, let's start with our calendar. So, who knows what month it is? Can you guys tell me what month is it? Did you say April? Yeah, it's the month of April. And who can tell me, maybe you have your calendar in front of you and you can look at your calendar, who can tell me what day of the week it is? So I'm looking, yesterday was Wednesday, tomorrow is Friday, so today is Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. So today is Thursday, April 16th, because I know all the way here. So what I've decided to do is color my numbers. I colored it and I made my numbers green up until the day we are. So today you can see is Thursday, April 16th. There we go. Awesome. And what season are we in? I think you know, I think you definitely know, it's the season of spring. And I have exciting news because we've had really windy days the last 2-3 days, and now all of the ice off the lake is pretty much moved to the side and the water comes through now, and that's really cool because it reminds me that summer is coming and we'll be able to go swimming as soon as the water gets warmed up. So very exciting. And for my weather today, I did big sun, and it's a little bright green, bright yellow, I don't know why it's so bright. And I did some wind too, because it is still very windy. It's been a lot of days of very windy weather. I think yesterday too was more cloudy, but then it got windy. Anyway, so the last 24 hours it's been windy, so I haven't had any precipitation. But again, when I took the jar inside this morning, it was so cold outside, and when I brought it inside, it immediately fogged up, and then a little bit of condensation happened. So then there's one drop in there. Can you see it moving around? One drop. So I'm just going to put a "t," and I don't think, maybe I forgot to say that with you guys yesterday. But I'm going to put a "t" for trace amounts. It's too little for me to measure, but yeah, because of the change of temperature from outside to inside, it had one little drop in the jar. Okay, so that's our weather for today and the date. And now we're going to move on to the frog. And we've been talking a lot about the life cycle of the frog. And, yesterday we did the labels, and we did we've already glued it on, so probably yours has maybe some beautiful labels underneath now, either in print or cursive. And I'm just going to point to them, and I want you to tell me what part of the life cycle it is. So are you ready for that? Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, so these are the what? Can you tell me? Yeah, it's the eggs. And what I was saying was that sometimes when I was reading about frogs, they called a bunch of the frog eggs spawn, so that's what we can call it as well. And then after the eggs, do they hatch and then go into a frog, an adult frog? No. Do they go from there to the froglet? No. They go from there to what's that called? The tadpole. Yeah, the tadpole. And then from the tadpole, it continues to grow. Oh, do you hear that loud noise? I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you what that is. I'll stop for 1 second. That loud noise is the generator, because here we had so much wind that it's been 2 days now where we haven't had power from the power lines, and we've been using the generator outside, which runs on gasoline, to make energy, to make power for the house. So it's fine because we still have all of our lights and our heat, but if your power lines aren't working, then that's something that you can have, a generator, and it burns gas and it creates energy for your house. So that's what you're hearing. So if you hear the door opening and shutting, that loud noise is the generator. Okay, so back to our lesson. So here's the tadpole, and then after the tadpole, as it grows its lungs, and it grows its legs, and its hind legs, and its forelegs, and the tail starts to shrink, and it turns into the froglet. That's right. And then it continues to grow and turns into the adult frog. And I colored mine green. And I know in class we have our frog work, and the frogs are all different colors. There's red frogs, there's blue poison dart frogs. In South America, there's so many different species of frogs. And basically with frogs, their color, and the ones especially in Canada, provide them with great camouflage. So basically the green ones are good for hiding in rivers and streams and on green grasses and lily pads. And then there's also like wood frogs, and wood frogs tend to be brown like wood, and tree bark, tree frogs in Canada are dark brown, and they match. So frogs have a great camouflage in terms of the colors they are. And usually if you see the color of a frog, you can kind of guess its habitat. So you can kind of figure out where it might live based on what colors it has. So this green frog is definitely living in tall grasses, in wetlands, in marshes, in ponds, and on lily pads, and where it can be easily camouflaged and stay safer from its predators. So the other part of this work, and I showed it a little bit yesterday, but maybe you guys did it at home, was just gluing the parts, the same thing, the same life cycle, but in a chain opposed to in the circle. Okay, so I hope you had fun doing all that. And today our activity is going to be this. So we're going to do 5 senses, and we're going to pretend that we're a frog. Fun. Okay, so I'm just gonna do maybe one thing for each category, and then at home you can do more things. So I'm gonna write frog on the top. I'm gonna use my pen, my pencil, and write frog. Okay, so I'm kind of doing my 5 senses, pretending I was a frog. So take a second and get into your frog brain and everything we've learned about frogs this week, and think about that. And now we're going to think. So if you are a frog, and let's pretend we are a river frog, or a frog that lives in ponds or shallow water or marshlands, that sort of frog. So we'll be kind of like that green frog that we had on our life cycle. So what's one thing you would see? Well, I think I would see lots of tall grasses, because I'm going to kind of hang out and hide in tall grasses. And maybe also that's where I'll have food, and I will have able to find insects and bugs in some tall grasses. So I'm going to put that. So you should think about some other things too. Maybe you see water, maybe you see other frogs, maybe you see your predators like ducks and different birds, and also maybe big fish. So think about what you could see. Okay, what can you hear? So we talked about how frogs don't have ears like us, but they have this hearing patch called the tympanum. And what are some things you could hear? Yeah, so I think you would hear a lot of like wind rustling on the water. So I'm going to draw like my wind sign, which I usually do these like little loops. And I'm going to draw with that some water. Oh, I didn't grab a blue one. Well, that's okay. I'll just do this like. Okay, so I'm hearing wind. I'm hearing water moving. So I'm going to put wind and water. And the wind is really the rustling of the of the grasses, of the water making waves when the water hits up over a rock. Also, I might hear loons calling, different animals that also exist in my habitat. Okay, what's something you can smell? So frogs definitely have nostrils, and I mean, I don't really know what they can smell, but I think one thing they could definitely smell all the time would be like mud and dirt, because usually they're in the shallow part of the river or pond, and because they have to go outside of the water and inside the water, so they'll probably have mud around, and usually when you have wet earth, it has a smell to it, so I bet they smell that a lot. What do you think they taste? Yeah, so they're tasting what they're eating to stay alive. So one thing we know that they eat is some flies and bugs. I'm going to draw a little insect here, some meat on it, my insect, and also worms. They can also eat worms like that. And even like you could draw a small fish. So I'm going to write worms and insects and even fish, small fish, so that's another thing that they taste. And then what do they touch or what do they feel? So still kind of like with what they're hearing, they're definitely going to feel water, they're going to feel the wind blowing, they're going to feel, when they jump into the water, they're going to feel the different temperatures. So I'm going to write water again, and I'm going to put wind blowing on their skin, and we know that their skin is like moist, so it takes on whatever temperature it is. And yeah, that's sort of the five senses. I was just thinking that for hearing, it's sort of like definitely when they're mating, which is right now in April, May, when they're mating, they're going to hear each other calling to each other. And there's like a spring peeper frog, and that's a frog, and they make this loud noise, and they call to each other to find mates. So they'll definitely hear other frogs, because that's an important part of their survival, is mating and creating their eggs. Okay, so that's our five senses with pretending to be a frog. I hope you found that fun, and you can keep working at home. You can just do pictures, you can just do writing, you can do a little bit of both, whatever you want. Okay, so I hope that was fun, and we are going to move on to our math today. So, okay, so for math, we are going to continue with our numbers to 100, and or working with our number 100. And you guys have done such an awesome job this week, making your piles and counting them. So now we're moving on to a material that we use in the class a lot, and that is the 100 board. So I'm going to show you what I have here. So basically we have our numbers to 100. I already started cutting mine a little bit, and then I thought, wait, we could do it together. And then we have the blank 100 board, okay? And then the other thing you have it, I'll send to you, is the control. So it's your numbers 1 to 100, okay? So today the challenge is to take your 100 numbers and to cut up the tiles. So maybe you'll need a grown-up to help you with that, and that's fine. So you want to cut them all up, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take your 100 pieces, and you're going to make piles of 1, and you're going to label them all, and then you're going to take your 100 labels and you're going to glue them into your 100 board. A big work, I know. So maybe it will take you a little while to do it, maybe it will take you more than one kind of work period, but I thought it would be fun. So I'm going to create a little bit of space, and I'll show you a little bit about what I'm talking about, but I think you're getting pretty good at this one now. Okay, so first thing first, I'm just going to cut, I thought I would cut it with you to show you just how important it is to cut right on the lines. And I do believe that like most of my second year friends can cut this really well. My suggestion would be to cut it in strips first. So cut the strip all the way across. a strip all the way across. And then once you have strips, it's really easy just to cut on the black line in between like this. There we go. Right? That's pretty easy. I'm just like chopping it up. So I'll do this one too. And then we'll just kind of look at how it would look to 20. And then you guys can do it at home all the way to 100. Maybe you wanted to do it in two groups, like 1 to 50, and then 51 to 100. That's a choice too. I know you did 2s, and I know you've done groups of 5, and I know you did groups of 10. So this is really just counting 1 for 1. And then once we've done that, we will glue the tiles. So after you've counted them with your counters, then you'll just glue the tiles, and they'll already be in order onto your 100 board. Okay? So here I'm just gonna take my counter. So I'm just making piles of 1. That's so easy. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, that one's rolling. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Are you counting with me? I hope so. 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so then you're just gonna go find your numbers. I need to go 1, 2, 3. And also you can keep them in little piles too. So sometimes when we do the 100 board in class, we keep them in their separate piles, right? So we have 1 to 10 in a pile, 11 to 20 in a pile, so you can do that as well. That's easier. 4. Where's number 5? Where did number 5 go? Did it fall? Oh boy. Okay, well I'm going to write 5. I do not see it. See, it's fun to search for numbers because sometimes you maybe don't find them, and then you have to make one, just like we do in class. Okay, so 5, and then I have 6, then I have, oh my goodness, 7, stay here, and then I have 8, there, 9, 10, 11, good, 12, 13, hey, I bet that's my 5, it is my 5, it was stuck under 13 there, 5, 13, 14, 15, 16, oops, there we go, 17, so it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be, straight, it can be whatever which way, 18, 19, and 20, there! So there's sort of my counting my numbers. I know you guys know your numbers well this way, but there you can see them, that's how it should look, so 1 for 1, all the way to 100. And then when I'm done, it will be all kind of laid out. So I'm feeling really good about gluing it into my 100 board because I'm just going to take my glue and I'm going to take my 1 and I can just put it right in the top corner, right? Just like that. Okay, so I think that will be a great activity for you. And let me know if you have any questions. And then you will have a 100 board filled all the way up, and you would have counted your number 100 and really divided it. That's kind of what we're doing you've divided it by 10s, by 5s, by 2s, and now by 1. So there we go. All right, my friends, so enjoy that. And then we have our 100, and we can still do other activities with the 100. All right. Okay. Good. Okay, so now we're going to look at our our phonogram. So yesterday we did the is sound. So we did the y at the end of the words, and we said how at the end of the word it doesn't make the y anymore, it makes the e. So I have a story that I wrote, and it's silly, but I needed to come up with some words that had the phonogram that we're looking for at the end. Okay, so let's just remember the phonogram you're looking for is just the y sound, right, at the end of the word. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you, and we can do a little bit together, and maybe you have yours and you can do it with me now, or you can do it afterwards. And I really hope you had fun drawing your picture yesterday with these words. And now we're going to do this. Okay, so hi, my name is Andy. Okay, so I hear the E sound at the end of Andy. And I see there's a y at the end of the word. So hi, my name is Andy. Okay. I am a kitty, and I think I'm really funny. Okay, so what words have the E sound at the end? I am a kitty, yeah, and I think I'm really funny. There we go. So I have the E sound 3 times in that sentence. My friends think I'm wacky and handy. Huh. My friends think I'm wacky. Oh, I hear the E sound and I see the y. And handy. Oh, I hear the E sound and I see the y at the end of those words. There we go. So I think you guys can just keep doing that on your own. I didn't make it super hard, but I definitely think it's fun, and there's a lot of them. So at the end, if you want, you could write total, and you could count for me and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, how many you got in the whole story. All right, so have fun doing that and practicing the E phonogram when you have the y at the end of the word. Okay, so now I wanted to show you our practical life activity for today. So our practical life activity that we did yesterday was pouring water, and today's activity is pouring as well, but we're going to pour some rice or whatever you have to pour. So maybe you have some lentils, maybe you have some small cereal, granola, and this is nice because it's sort of practicing pouring your own food, getting things ready, you know. So if you're doing baking with your grown-ups, or if you're doing you know, helping get things ready for dinner, your parents can say, okay, can you pour you know, a cup of this into that, and you can practice doing it. Okay, so I put mine in my pouring jug like that, and I have my empty cup. And just like yesterday, it's nice to be above what I'm pouring, because it would be hard to pour something over top of my head. It'd be like, oh, what am I doing? Okay, and then the other thing that's important is that I can see through. This is see-through. So when I'm practicing pouring to start with, so if you don't want to have spills, it's nice to be able to see what I'm looking at, see how full it's getting, etc. So I put just a little bit of rice in here. It won't fill this all the way up, but it's fun to practice with. So depending on what you're pouring to, just like yesterday, you want to have your supporting hand help guide the pour. So I have a very big open top, so I have to pour very carefully so that all of the rice doesn't just come straight out the top, just like the water yesterday. Okay, so I'm going slow pouring, and I'm really paying attention to what I'm doing, and I can take breaks and shift it around and pour it again. Yeah, so here we go. So my hands supporting, looking. Okay, so I still have a little bit more, and now it's getting trickier because I have to tip it more upside down to get it out, and yet this is so big. So let me see if I can go nice and slow. There we go. There we go. So it's all pretty much out, and it's into my jar. And this hand really helped me guide my pour and not go too fast. So that's a really big important part of our pouring practice. And yeah, I hope you have fun practicing that. You can obviously do more amounts or smaller amounts, or different things mixed together, or many jars, whatever exciting thing you can add to it. And yeah, all right, my friends. So we'll stop here for today. I realized that we didn't get to do any French, so, well, actually, you know what? We have time. Let's just say how we're feeling today in French, and then we'll say goodbye. So maybe you're feeling different at the end of the lesson. So maybe earlier you were feeling bien or comme ci, comme ça, but now you're feeling fantastique. Well, at least that's what I hope. That's what I really hope. But let's do it together. Can you say it with me? Okay. Aujourd'hui, ça va. Oui, mes amis. I hope you said fantastique. All right. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll say goodbye to all my friends under the rainbow. Bye. And from my heart to your heart. Bye, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow.